What's up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. Just finished a Showdown session live on stream, so it's all this that's in this video is out there for you to watch like it typically is. But the reason why I say that is because every time I end up giving my critique, especially on UFL, there's a few, select individuals that come out with, well, it's only because you got scored on, or no, you're wrong. You're only saying that because you want players to play FC or whatever. Despite me being able to show and you guys being able to see yourself that, my biggest views are from UFL, therefore it would only make sense that I want UFL to be successful. I barely get any views for FC. I'm just going to always tell the truth, and when I say FC is better, it's because it's better. It's not because I don't want my 10x views from UFL to go down for my, little tiny view FC videos. So when I'm promoting FC, it wouldn't make any sense for me. However, you'll still have those players or just commenters, whoever, coming out of the woodwork with all these nonsense things. So I want to show you stuff like this in the background. If I didn't break this clip down and just said, I was in a perfect position to make the tackle, which I'm going to show you from all different angles, as I'm pressing tackle while this is happening, players would say, you're just mad because he scored this great goal against you. Well, no. Not only did my tackle not trigger, right, it was like I was frozen and couldn't do anything, but the ball clearly goes through the cleat of my player. And this is also connected to why I think there's this big discrepancy with through balls, where some, as you'll see in this video, are perfectly played through. They don't lock onto the player or defender, and then, they go off without a hitch. And then others, for no rhyme or reason, despite how much space there is, your player will play a through ball, or the opponent will play a through ball directly into your, player, or to the, if you're playing the through ball, to the defender, or at your player's feet when you wanted it to be led in front of him. And the reason why is because I believe all of this is animation based. And what I mean by that, for instance, on this goal by Messi, I'm in a perfect position to tackle, but the game won't register my tackle, and then the Messi shoots through my defender's foot. And that's because I believe when he got into a certain position, an animation triggered, and therefore the ball was going to go in no matter what. It's the same with those snapshots when you see where your defender could have easily blocked it and they almost just stay out of the way of the ball, or sometimes the ball goes through them. I believe this is animation based, and that's why I think you end up with score lines that are similar to this, despite being far better than the opponent, as you can see by these kind of stat lines. You see this over and over in UFL, which is why I said what I said last night. This game's for some players, but not all. Those higher skilled players, the players that want a skill-based game and want to work on the game and improve and then be rewarded as such with, results on the pitch. Not just rewards off the pitch, that's a whole nother story, but I'm talking about be rewarded with goals, being rewarded with plays going their way when they defend properly. I literally defended that Messi perfectly with my Van de Ven, and it doesn't let me commit a tackle, and then the ball goes through my player's foot, and instead of being rewarded for good defending, I'm punished by going down a goal. Same with this game, it's a whole different one. You see 80-20 in possession, right? And yet I only have 3 shots. 2 on target, he only has 1. He could have easily scored that, and this game ends in a 1-1 draw when I have 80% possession. And the reason you see only 3 shots on my side with 80% possession is because of this. Irrefutable proof, and I could show you a million of these, and I'm sure you face it or will face it, but the defense is not fixed. You can still park the bus, you can still only control your midfielders, not touch your defenders, and have a good chance that the player will run into your 8 players sitting back. And I'm talking about all 3 areas. They said they fixed the depth, they said they fixed the width, and they said they fixed the spacing between the midfielders and the defenders, making it a bigger gap. They did none of those. You will still see time and time again that's the same old no skill defense is viable. Now sometimes you'll get a chance like this where you'll score, and that's like that one shot that will get you the 1-0 win, but sometimes you won't, or sometimes you'll get that but your opponent will get one and you end the game 1-1. Other times you get chances like this, which for no rhyme or reason your players will get in point blank range and they will miss for no other reason than the game's just inconsistent. So one shot you'll get saved like this, and the other shot with the same exact player from just about the same angle, you'll finish like this. Literally no consistency. You'll hit the post like this over and over, and then all of a sudden, magically, it'll be a finish. So who knows what causes that? But it's the same thing with the through ball, where you have a perfect gap to play the ball through, and the AI just takes your striker right out of position. Look, he could just turn and run and he's through, but he decides to run into the defender, and then, this happens. So the through balls are off, the runs are off, everything's just a mess, and it's inconsistent. So with the through ball, the reason why I think it's inconsistent, like I said earlier, the only thing I could come up with is that this right here is like animation based. That angle matched like whatever the coding is, and it goes through perfectly. Whereas this one, even though I press left of the defender, it goes right at the defender, like almost like that pass lock, but to the defender. Now luckily, because of some goofy glitchy bounce, I was able to win the ball. But you can see here, I am pressing to the left of that defender in this play. That's where, if you're watching in the run of play, you'll have those few commenters coming out of the woodwork like, no man, that was just a bad pass. No, the truth is, there's a ton of room to the left of that defender to play this ball, but as many of you know, because you've played a bunch of these, instead of going to that direction, it goes straight down the middle. It doesn't matter what kind of directional input you put it in. It literally just locks onto the defender. And this is just a perfect, irrefutable example, but it happens time and time again. Sometimes the ball will go perfectly through and you run onto it, and a lot of times you can score from it like here, and then other times are like this, where it doesn't matter how much space you have, what kind of directional input you put on the through ball, it's going to lock on and go straight at the defender. Again, I got lucky there, but many times the defender will just clean up the ball and now you lose possession. And it's the same with when you hit the post and then you go down with the same kind of shot next time you finish it, or the goalkeeper saves your shot over and over from point blank range, and then randomly, boom, you finish the next one. There is no consistency. That's why it is not a game for those players looking to play either competitively, right, where they truly want to climb ranks and they're really putting commitment, time, effort, sacrificing to get better at the game. The whole nine. There's a lot of players out there like that, including myself, and I'm not going to put that time into a broken game. Neither will any other players that are, at the same caliber or looking for the same thing. The players that UFL is for, which again I said this in the previous video, is those who just want to have fun. They can turn on the game, and even with all these glitches and inconsistencies, they don't care. They're not worried if they win, lose, or whatever. They just want to play a little bit of football, and they want it to be a simplified process because they can't be bothered to learn the details, to put in the time to get better by learning all these nuances of the game. They literally just want to turn on, press a few buttons, play some football, and get out. For those players, it won't matter when you have all these inconsistencies. But for all of us players who want to put in time to get better, who are trying to be skill-based players that continue to improve, we have to play FC. Maybe you could say eFootball. The only reason I don't include that when I'm talking about UFL is because it's such a different experience. It's an AI-heavy, almost, more mobile game-like experience where the skill is in utilizing the AI, right? UFL is in a category with FC where there's manual ability to dictate runs, right? To dictate different variables in the game, and that's how you determine a winner. But it has to be skill-based to do that. You can't have the inconsistencies. You can't have certain animations render, players not able to, for instance, block shots, make tackles, things like that. That's where UFL is far inferior to FC. And again, for the last time, why the more skilled players will always go to FC, as well as those players aspiring to gain more skill in the game and to improve. You can't have a game where these kind of things are happening. This is a tackle 100% of the time. There's not one instance where this isn't a tackle. I'm like, a foot away from the ball, whatever you want to call it, clearly in range, pressing the tackle button, but because of whatever UFL's issue is that's combined, it's the same related issue with the through balls that I was talking about, with the reason why you'll hit the post 17 times with Sun and the 18th time it will go in. These type of things that don't allow you to make this tackle, that allow this ball to go through my player's foot, just like on the snapshots, just like on the glitchy L2 cross, which is still working. It hasn't been removed. Just like the goofy flick on corners where your players just can't defend it, and all of a sudden it latches on and locks to a player and they can knock it in. The only thing happening now is a lot of times it's getting shot into the player that's standing on the post. But other than that, the actual flick on, the freezing of the defenders, to going through the defenders like this replay, these things are still in the game despite all these updates in this quote-unquote big March update. So it's not being negative. It's not being upset when you get scored on. You know, it happens the same way if I score goals, if I win games. It's a matter of this game, factually speaking, is not fixed. It is still broken in many ways. Can you say it feels better than previously? Absolutely. That's where I want to retract yesterday. I was more along the lines of there's nothing fixed. It's the same old broken game. I will say there are improvements, but not anything significant enough to say, okay, the game's good now, right? We're still, based on their level of fixes in each patch, we're still years and years away from this being a viable game for skilled players to play and look to, have their skill matter in matches and affect the outcome of a match, right? The more skilled player winning the game. To have a game where they can learn these different skills and then improve. UFL just isn't that game right now. So I wanted to show you from, gameplay just literally hot off the press just a few hours ago in this first post-patch showdown. With that being said, I will keep my foot on the gas, covering all these different games. I will keep covering UFL as well. I'm just being honest about the game. I personally will not be competing in this game, but I will play just like I did today. I'll provide you with anything I can, tactics-wise, breakdown-wise, tip-wise, but competitively speaking, and I think that it's going to be the case for all players that are along the lines of that skilled area, that want skill to affect the game, right? All of us are going to be playing FC. It's just there would be no reason to play UFL. So, whatever game you do play, keep grinding, keep having fun, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.